With the heat bed successfully installed and the H2D still fully accessible, the next step in our Vortek upgrade is a major one: complete toolhead and X-axis replacement. So we have a completely new toolhead in the Vortek upgrade kit. While it looks very similar in size and shape to the existing dual design of the H2D, the important part here is the omission of the right nozzle. That is, of course, where the Vortek system will be feeding in its own induction hot ends. We also have a new enhanced cooling fan, which we'll be installing later in the process. That said, let's get this installed. So we begin this section by removing the single screw in the upper left corner, just by the door hinge, which secures the AP board cover. After which we can gently pull on the cover to remove the entire length, which spans right across the entire upper frame. With that out of the way, we have clear access to the AP board just here, from which we need to disconnect the USB-C connector on the right edge. Followed by removing one screw from a cable clip, after which we can release the cable from its various clips going back to the rear corner. While we're in the rear corner then, disconnect these two white power connectors by pressing on the latch and pulling to release. With that done, we need to release the filament buffer, move the toolhead away for more space should you need to, and then from the back of the printer, release the 4 screws holding the buffer in place. There's no need to actually unplug the buffer completely, leave it free hanging for now, as we just need it out of the way at this stage. And while we're here, we can remove the PTFE tubes from the buffer too. We need to release the entire cable bundle connected to the toolhead next. In essence, it's this entire chain here. To do this, we need to disengage it from its slot on the frame and pull it away. This may take some force, but it will release eventually. Talking of releasing things then, we'll go ahead and remove the LED strips on both sides of the printer. This is held on with clips, so using a spudger, I found it easier to use the Bambulab scraper, gently pry the cover away, trying to keep those clips intact. Okay, so with that done, we're finally ready to remove the X-axis assembly and the entire toolhead. We'll begin by pushing down on the connectors in order to release both PTFE tubes from the top of the toolhead, and then removing them from their clips completely. Keep these handy as we'll be reusing them later. We can now go ahead by releasing the belts from both sides of the toolhead. Thankfully, it's a rather straightforward task in comparison to some other printers I've used, involving removing 3 screws. A ball-ended driver certainly helps here. And this releases the bracket the belts are attached to. Let this hang freely on one side, while repeating the same procedure on the opposite side to release the toolhead completely from all belts. Before we go ahead and remove the X-axis then, which is the next step, wrap some tape around the linear rail on either side of the toolhead. This will stop the toolhead from sliding off of the rail completely on either side, as it's a difficult job to reinstall should that happen. Okay, so we'll go ahead and release the X-axis now. Start by releasing a single screw from the top side of the X-axis bracket. It's easier to use the supplied long Allen key to go through the dedicated hole and reach the screw here. Use a magnet to retrieve the screw if needed, and repeat on the opposite side. Next, there are 2 screws on the rear of the linear rail that need to be removed. A little awkward, but certainly doable. And again, use a magnet to grab the screws should you need to. Repeat on the opposite side. With those released, we have one final screw that we need to get to from the bottom, again on both sides. And with that, the linear rail is finally free. Slightly tilt it to loosen and remove the rail from the printer completely. I personally found the rail seemed like it was stuck into place and did take a little force to remove, but some wiggling around and it finally comes loose. It's a case of reversing most of the steps then to get the new toolhead into position from here, so proceed to drop it into place between the linear rail guides. You will need to tilt the rail and reposition the sliders just so you can get the rail into position for the moment. Once in place, reinstall the original 8 screws removed from the H2D toolhead, only loosely for the moment, so one M3x6 in from the top, 2 BT3x8 into the rear, and one M3x6 from the bottom. And repeat on the opposite side. Again, just so the threads bite at this stage, because we want to make sure the linear rail is as parallel as possible to square up the gantry. So with the screws in place, pull the rail all the way to the front. And with the sliders pushed against the front pillars, we can go ahead and revisit the screws, making sure they're nice and snug. As a final check then, now that everything's tightened down, pull the rail forward again and ensure both sides evenly touch the pillars. There should be absolutely no play between the two as you gently pull on either side. If there is, loosen the screws and retighten again following the previous process. With the tool head now secure, proceed to cut the safety zip ties at either end. They're no longer needed. All that's left with the tool head then is to reinstall the belt clamps on either side using the original M3x8 screws. So with the first in place, begin by getting the middle screw into position first, followed by the top, and then the bottom. After which we can revisit the middle screw and give it a last tighten to ensure a secure fit. And of course repeat the same on the opposite side. Belts now installed, and tool head installation is pretty much complete. All that's left is its cabling bundle. So with it in hand, push the end of the chain back into its slot and slide it to the left until it snaps into its latch. We can then attach the toolhead power and communication cables back into their respective connectors, the two white connectors from earlier, and route the USB cable through the first cable clip for now to keep everything nice and neat, leaving the end hanging freely for the moment. With these cables in place, we can go ahead and reattach the buffer assembly, so line it back up into position and secure using the original 4 screws in from the rear. There's no need to install the complete rear panel just yet, since it does have cutouts for these screws, so there'll be no interference regardless. That just leaves us with our USB-C connector coming from the tool head. We're not connecting this back up for the moment, since the next step in the process involves replacing the entire AP control board. So take a breather and join me in the next section where we'll replace the entire board.